What if I told you that a single decision made on a single ordinary afternoon could erase $120,000 from your retirement, and that right now, as you watch this, millions of American seniors are lining up to make that exact decision because nobody explained the math to them before they signed the paperwork? What if I told you that the United States government published a document 19 days ago confirming that every Social Security retirement check in America will be automatically slashed by 22% within 6 years, and that there is currently no law, no bill, no proposal sitting in either chamber of Congress designed to stop it? And what if I told you that the very instinct you are feeling right now, the urge to rush out and protect your money before it disappears, is precisely the instinct that will guarantee you receive less money than everyone else who stayed calm and did the math first? This is not speculation. This is not a political opinion. On June 9th, 2026, the Social Security Board of Trustees submitted their official annual report, and the numbers printed inside that document changed the retirement landscape for 70 million Americans permanently. The Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund, the single account that generates your monthly deposit, will reach a $0 balance in the fourth quarter of 2032. On the morning that happens, federal law compels an immediate 22% reduction to every retirement and survivor benefit being paid from that fund. No vote is needed. No signature is required. The math executes itself. And today, in the next few minutes, you are going to learn exactly how this mechanism works under federal statute, exactly how much money your household will lose, and exactly why the one reaction that feels safest is actually the most financially destructive choice available to you. Every figure I cite comes directly from the Social Security Administration's published report, AARP's official analysis, and the United States Code that legally governs your benefits. I want you to meet Robert because his story is about to repeat itself millions of times across this country unless people hear the truth in time. Robert is a 67-year-old retired electrician from Ohio. 41 years of continuous employment, every paycheck taxed, every quarter credited. Robert had done his research. He knew that delaying his Social Security claim until 70 would earn him delayed retirement credits of 8% per year beyond his full retirement age, accumulating into a 24% permanent increase over his full retirement amount of $2,071 monthly. Waiting would have delivered approximately $2,568 every single month until the day Robert dies. But then the trust fund news broke, and Robert's neighbor arrived at his kitchen table with panic in his voice, insisting that the money was about to vanish and that Robert needed to file immediately before the government shuts everything down. Robert let that panic override 3 years of careful planning. He drove to the local office, completed the forms, and permanently locked in his benefit at the lower amount. Here is the mathematical truth Robert never heard anyone explain. The 22% reduction projected for 2032 is applied as a flat percentage against whatever your benefit happens to be at that time. It does not care whether you claimed early or late. The percentage is identical for all recipients. Robert will spend every remaining month of his life receiving 22% less of $2,071 when he could have spent those same months receiving 22% less of $2,568. That single afternoon of fear translates into roughly $500 fewer dollars every month, $6,000 fewer dollars every year, and $120,000 fewer dollars across a 20-year retirement. The paperwork cannot be withdrawn. The decision cannot be appealed. The money has been permanently removed from Robert's future. That is the trap built into the headlines, and I am going to make certain you see it clearly before you make any decision about your own benefits. The law controlling your Social Security income is the Social Security Act, Section 201, codified at Title 42 of the United States Code, Section 401. It created 2 legally separate trust fund accounts. The Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund pays retirement and survivor benefits. The Disability Insurance Trust Fund pays disability payments. The structural constraint that most Americans have never been told is absolute. The Social Security Administration possesses no borrowing authority. It cannot draw from the general treasury. It cannot issue its own debt instruments. It cannot manufacture currency. Every benefit dollar paid must come either from existing trust fund reserves or from payroll taxes arriving in real time from current workers. When the reserve reaches zero, payments are cut instantaneously to match incoming revenue. This is not a discretionary policy decision subject to anyone's approval or political negotiation. This is arithmetic executing itself under the force of statute. The 2026 Trustees Report confirms the OASI fund depletes in the fourth quarter of 2032, one full quarter earlier than projected 12 months ago. At exhaustion, ongoing payroll collections cover 78% of scheduled benefits. The remaining 22% disappears from every payment simultaneously. Combining both funds extends the date to 2034, with 83% payable, a 17% cut. But merging requires legislation that does not exist. Under current law, the retirement fund stands alone, empties first, and its 62 million beneficiaries absorb the full 22%, while disability recipients remain fully funded through the projection window extending to 2100. The 2025 operating results tell the story of acceleration. Income totaled $1.45 trillion, mainly from payroll taxes collected from 185 million workers. Costs reached $1.61 trillion. The annual deficit of $160 billion was covered by burning trust fund reserves, which dropped from $2.72 trillion to $2.56 trillion across 12 months. The 75-year actuarial shortfall now sits at 4.42% of taxable payroll, up from 3.82% 1 year ago. The present value unfunded obligation is $29.3 trillion, a figure larger than the entire annual economic output of the country. Three forces pushed this year's numbers deeper into crisis. First, the trustees reduced their fertility rate assumption from 1.9 to 1.75 children per woman, the single largest driver of the worsened deficit, because fewer births now means fewer tax-paying workers 2 decades from now. Second, immigration assumptions for 2022 through 2035 were lowered, reflecting reduced admissions and higher emigration, directly shrinking the payroll tax base. Third, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, signed July 4, 2025, made permanent the lower income tax rates from the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and introduced a temporary higher standard deduction for those over 65. This delivers modest tax savings today, while simultaneously reducing revenue flowing back into the trust funds through taxation of Social Security benefits. Somewhat better near-term growth assumptions offset a small fraction of these negatives, but could not prevent the depletion date from advancing. The payroll tax framework itself contributes structurally to the problem. Workers and employers each pay 6.2%, totaling 12.4%, on wages up to the 2026 maximum of $184,500. Self-employed individuals bear the full 12.4%. Wages above the cap are entirely exempt. As compensation increasingly concentrates among earners above that ceiling, a growing share of national payroll escapes taxation, while benefit obligations continue expanding with every retiring cohort. 6 misconceptions are actively causing financial damage right now. The first is that Social Security disappears entirely after depletion. It does not. Payroll taxes continue flowing in real time and benefits continue, just reduced to match that revenue. The second is that current beneficiaries will be protected or grandfathered. The Social Security Administration's own distributional analysis confirms the cut applies uniformly to all recipients regardless of when they claimed. No grandfather clause exists in law. The third is Robert's error, believing early claiming secures money before the cut. Claiming at 62 permanently reduces your base by 30% for those born in 1960 or later. The 22% trust fund cut applied atop that already shrunken base produces far less income than waiting and absorbing the same cut on a larger amount. The fourth is that the 2026 COLA of 2.8% offers meaningful protection. That adjustment added $56 monthly. The projected cut removes $456 monthly. One offsets barely 12% of the other. The fifth misconception is the confident belief Congress will fix this, because they did in 1983. The political and fiscal landscape has transformed beyond recognition. National debt exceeds 100% of GDP, and no legislation addressing the shortfall exists in either chamber. The trustees explicitly warned that delay concentrates larger sacrifices on fewer people. The sixth misconception is that only retired workers are affected. Spouses, dependent children, widows, widowers, and orphans all draw from the same fund and absorb the same percentage cut simultaneously. 62 million Americans share this single exposure. Part 2. The dollar impact on your specific household deserves to be stated plainly because abstractions protect no one. The average retired worker receives $2,071 monthly in 2026. A 22% cut deletes $456 from that deposit every month without exception, totaling $5,467 per year permanently removed from your life. A retired couple both collecting averages a combined $3,208 monthly. The same cut extracts $706 per month, equaling $8,470 per year erased from their shared household. The Social Security Administration's own distributional research projects this reduction would double the poverty rate among beneficiaries aged 64 through 78. Roughly 875,000 additional seniors would fall below the federal poverty line. Women constitute 62% of those newly impoverished because historically lower wages, caregiving gaps, and greater Social Security dependence produce smaller benefits with thinner margins. Black and Hispanic beneficiaries represent 42% because systemic, career-long wage disparities generated lower benefit calculations. Those in the bottom income quintile face a 19.8% total income reduction versus 5.8% for the wealthiest quintile because affluent retirees possess pensions, portfolios, and savings to absorb the blow, while lower-income retirees depend on Social Security for 80% or more of their entire support. This crisis delivers its heaviest damage precisely where financial resilience is thinnest. A parallel emergency approaches on nearly the same timeline. Medicare. Part A's Hospital Insurance Trust Fund is projected to fall short of full obligations after the second quarter of 2033, less than 12 months after Social Security's retirement fund empties. Seniors face the realistic possibility of reductions to both monthly income and hospital coverage within a single year. A December 2025 AARP survey found 7% of retirees already returned to work in the preceding 6 months, nearly half driven by rising costs. That figure will surge once checks actually shrink, pushing Americans in their 70s and 80s toward employment in a market that neither accommodates nor guarantees them stability. Your 3-step protection plan begins today, not after the midterms, not after another trustees report, today, because 6 years converts from advantage to regret, based entirely on whether you fill it with deliberate action or passive hoping. Step 1 is an absolute refusal to replicate Robert's catastrophe. If you are between 62 and 70 and have not filed for Social Security, do not let a headline compress a complex financial decision into a panicked impulse. Each year you delay past full retirement age of 67 permanently increases your benefit by 8%. 3 years of patience from 67 to 70 builds a 24% larger base. That base remains superior even after a 22% reduction is applied to it, because 22% of a larger number still leaves you with more money than 22% of a smaller number. Visit SSA.gov and run the retirement estimator using your actual earnings history. Meet with a fee-only financial advisor who specializes in Social Security claiming strategies. Compare every scenario with your specific numbers, your health, your savings, and your household expenses before signing anything. The most expensive financial mistake available to any American retiree in 2026 is an irreversible claim triggered by emotion rather than calculation. Step 2 is constructing a household buffer across the 6-year window while preparation remains possible. If you already receive benefits and your claiming decision is behind you, shift your entire focus to absorbing a potential $456 monthly loss without household collapse. This week, pull 3 months of bank statements. Divide every recurring charge into essential and discretionary categories. Essential includes housing, food, medications, insurance, and basic transportation. Discretionary includes streaming subscriptions, premium cable, excessive phone plans, rarely used memberships, dining out, and secondary vehicles driven fewer than once a week. Identify where realistic reduction is possible without endangering your health or dignity. Simultaneously investigate supplemental income options, part-time remote work, seasonal positions, consulting in your former field, tutoring, or selling seldom-used possessions can generate enough to offset the projected monthly loss without demanding full-time hours. Determine whether you are overlooking government assistance you already qualify for. Visit benefits.gov and complete your state's screening questionnaire. The Medicare Savings Program covers your Part B premium if eligible, saving over $2,000 annually. SNAP reduces grocery bills. LIHEAP offsets utility costs in extreme weather. The AARP Foundation provides entirely free tax preparation through tax aid and free benefits counseling that frequently identifies hundreds of dollars in annual savings seniors did not know existed for them. You have received something almost unknown in personal finance, which is a precise date and a precise dollar figure arriving with 6 full years of advance warning. That gift becomes protection only through action. Inaction converts it into nothing more than a longer period of anxiety before the same unmitigated damage arrives. Step 3 directs your energy toward the one institution capable of preventing this outcome entirely, which is the United States Congress. The congressional switchboard is 202-224-3121. Call and ask for your senator, then call again for your representative. Identify yourself as a constituent by name and zip code. State that you are a Social Security beneficiary aware of the fourth quarter 2032 depletion projection. Demand they co-sponsor and vote for legislation restoring full solvency before that date without cutting benefits for current or near retirees. Find your specific legislators at congress.gov. The trustees' report states clearly that earlier legislative action permits smaller adjustments distributed across more people over more years, while delay forces larger, more painful changes concentrated on fewer recipients with less preparation time. If Congress acts now, the payroll tax increase needed for full 75-year solvency is 4.25 percentage points shared between employers and workers. If they wait until 2034, it climbs to nearly 5 points. Alternatively, they could eliminate the earnings cap, modify the formula for top earners, or gradually adjust the retirement age for younger generations. Bipartisan solutions exist in published policy research. Political will does not, and political will only materializes when thousands of constituents call within compressed timeframes, making clear that inaction has electoral consequences. Your 3-minute phone call, multiplied by millions of similarly motivated Americans, is the only force capable of moving legislation before the arithmetic moves your bank balance. I understand the weight of what you just heard. I understand it produces anxiety about a future you spent an entire career building toward. But consider what you now possess, that the majority of Social Security recipients in this country still do not. You understand the legal structure. You understand the precise timeline. You understand the exact dollars at stake in your own household. You understand the one devastating mistake and exactly why it magnifies rather than prevents your losses. You understand the 3 actions within your immediate control. That knowledge transforms you from a passive observer, waiting to absorb whatever happens, into an active participant, protecting your income, your security, and your dignity across every remaining year of your retirement. The people who suffer most in every policy disruption throughout American history are those who learned too late, assumed too much, and let emotion dictate irreversible choices. You will not be among them because you are here, you are informed, and you are going to act. Share this video immediately with every person you love who relies on Social Security. Your spouse, your siblings, your parents, your neighbors, your friends at church, at the senior center, at the grocery store. They deserve these facts before they stumble into a permanent mistake no form can reverse. Click the link in the description and join the Global Senior Alerts official WhatsApp channel. Upon joining, you receive a free Senior Benefits Protection Guide containing a step-by-step earnings statement audit, a personalized claim or delay decision framework, and a ready-to-submit template letter to your congressional representatives demanding action on the trust fund crisis. Every week, the channel delivers verified updates from SSA.gov, the Congressional Budget Office, AARP, and the Kaiser Family Foundation, so no policy shift affecting your money or healthcare catches you unprepared. The guide and the alerts are free because 70 million Americans deserve clear, jargon-free information while the window for meaningful action remains open. Join now, subscribe to this channel, turn on your notification bell, and comment below with your state and whether you have already claimed or are still evaluating your timing. I read every single comment and will direct you to resources specific to your situation. Protect what you built with 4 decades of labor. Choose mathematics over panic, and make absolutely certain the people closest to you watch this before fear writes their future for them. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute legal, financial, or tax advice. Consult a qualified professional for decisions specific to your individual circumstances. All data cited comes from official sources including SSA.gov, AAARP.org, KFF.org, and the 2026 Annual Report of the Board of Trustees of the Federal Old Age and Survivors Insurance and Federal Disability Insurance Trust Funds. Social Secure USA.